Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. Well, February is around the corner, and a time the colonizers used Mount Fako, they named Mount Cameroon, in organizing their so-called Race of Hope to tell the world that Cameroon is one and indivisible, and that Yaoundé is still in command of the southern Cameroon's Amazonia. Well, after the fake referendum of 1972, crafty Yaoundé cooked up this colonizing event that kicked off in 1973 to maintain their effective presence on Amber soil. Every visitor in Boya during this event will believe that he or she is in one of the francophone towns, as all has been Frenchified, so to speak, from the organizing committee to the hostesses, protocol, and every logistics manned by natives from La République du Cameroun, and the inaugural speeches delivered each time by the colonial francophone ministers in French language. Well, a day after the usual Monday goes out, we'll see what is happening in Amazonia and around the world. Let's get all of that in the full briefings of Undaunted tonight, coming right up after the prime headlines.
Here are the prime headlines for tonight. Mount Fako race is here again, and Amazonians must watch out. Tonight, we will revisit the postnatal unit of the Bamenda Regional Hospital, where premature babies are manipulated for all to benefit. Remember, we talked about the limited incubators as well. A day after Monday Ghost Town in Bamenda, what is new? You would want to find out. Tonight on Undaunted, we will look at Ghana's pre-election spending at its host key to long-term debt sustainability. That's on the African scene. And on the foreign scene, North Korea's Kim vows to dismantle father's unification arc as he declares South Korea's principal enemy. What about sports? Of course, we'll head to the African Cup of Nations, AFCON, and see what Total Energies is doing there. Now let's get the news in full briefings. Those who left Bamenda some 10 to 20 years behind will not believe their eyes making it to the city of Bamenda today. The Bamenda is the 1990s was more advanced as road infrastructure is concerned than Bamenda of the 2020s. Talking about upgrading or better say development, the city of Bamenda, the chief town of the northern zone of Amazonia, has experienced the reverse thanks to the colonial administration of La République du Cameroun. How can one explain the fact that La République du Cameroun is holding tight to the people of Amazonia? stopping Ambazonian from attaining full autonomy, yet not developing their roads and other sectors. Well, this is where we will begin the full briefing, Sovereign Dante, tonight. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening, Onyi. Good evening, Ambazonians. Well, the intention of La Republic de Cameroon to enslave Ambazonia and the people of Ambazonia seems to be at its peak, with the nature of roads in Ambazonia and Bamenda in the northern zone, to be precise. The roads in Bamenda, a city by name, are not up to a farm to farm road. Now, any individual or nation supporting Amazonia out of the enslavement scheme of La Republique du Cameroon is standing on the right side of justice and will be celebrated shortly. How come Amanda City, with tarred roads yesterday, is today with only mods for roads?
Every new day in Bamenda is just more dust particles than the denizens of this town baptized by the in-house slave Achobong Tambeng Paul, who is the colonial Bamenda City Council mayor as the city of the future. After taking office, Paul Achobong made some trips out of the country, and one of his stops was the capital of the United Arab Emirates. He came back home and was fascinated with what he saw out there before the press, and he said he was going to transform Bamenda to Dubai. Well, a year later, he embarked on the scraping of the patches of tar on the city roads, demolition roadside stores and houses in the name of making the roads wider for tarring, a move that was highly saluted by the people of Amazonia because they fell for the Dubai illusion. Did it happen? Well, you get to find out.
Well, years have gone down the line and nothing's on the horizon as a glimpse of road work or in any time soon. After the heavy demolition, what is left an abandoned project with dust dictating the rules. Well, at the dawn of every new day in Bamenda is a period of regret for inhabitants as they lament the quantity of dust that they take in. The roads in Bamenda are very terrible, and coupled with the dry season, the situation is further worsened. As early as 6 a.m., there is already dust in the air at the passing of a vehicle or bike. The risk of an outbreak of an epidemic is high with the ever present dust particles in the air.
Well, many have questioned the essence of La Republique du Cameroon colonial government in Amazonia, if not to further spoil or destroy existing institutions and infrastructures. Others have advised that the name be shifted from a city to something else, maybe like a village. But when will the colonial administrators give the people basic amenities like a road? We'll wait and see.
On to the next report for this morning. We're having premature babies manipulated for all to benefit the limited incubator. Well, Undaunted had to stop today as a follow-up on the report on the situation of just 6 incubators for 19 premature babies. As part of the last executive summary, the La République du Cameroon's colonial administration had denied the people of Amazonia quality healthcare. The Bamenda Regional Hospital represents and portrays what healthcare in the northern zone of Amazonia under the La République du Cameroon colonial government is really all about. Coming to think about it, the Bamenda Regional Hospital, a referral health institution for all 7 counties in northern Amazonia, can only have 6 incubators.
Well, embarrassing enough, presently 19 preterm babies need an incubator, and there are only 6 incubators available. Given that premature babies have infections, what will become of the 13 in need of an incubator? This was the statistics of a fortnight ago. The situation of the VC today is even worse. Of the 6 incubators, only 5 are functioning. For one, it's bad. The purpose of this report is to find out how the hospital is coping with this limitation.
It was a difficult Well, on to the next report. It was a difficult outing for Undaunted to the Bamenda Regional Hospital today, Tuesday, January 16, 2023, with the top management and the close collaborators not being reachable. A midwife at the postnatal unit who opted for anonymity explained how the postnatal unit is coping with just 5 to 6 incubators and an ever growing demand as the number of premature babies keep increasing. According to what she said, they had 6 incubators, but one just recently got bad, leaving it with 5. And according to her, it is not easy with them at the prenatal ward. Most of them newborns who are born with health deficiency in need of an incubator to boost their health don't have one.
Well, the strategy that the unit is putting in place to cope with the demand for incubators, coupled with the fact that Bamenda is a referral hospital to all the other district health centers. Well, according to an eyewitness says what we do is just putting the lives of the premature babies at risk. Whenever there is a new baby that needs to be incubated, we simply look for a child in an incubator who is a little stable and remove from the incubator for the new client. This is how we keep manipulating the babies for all to benefit from the service of an incubator. Though it is not the best method, it is the only thing that can be done if evacuation is not possible. This is what she added. Now, this is the type of game the La Republic du Cameroon have subjugated and subjected prematurely born babies in Bamenda, the chief town, into. Well, moving on, let's visit Mount Fako. February is around the corner, a time the colonizers uses Mount Fako, now the named Mount Cameroon, in organizing their so-called race of hope to tell the world Cameroon is one and that Yaoundé is still in command. But is that true? Well, is Yaoundé still in command of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia? After the fake referendum of 1972, crafty Yaoundé kicked up that colonizing event that kicked off in 1973 to maintain their effective presence on Ambazonia. Every visitor in Boyer during this event will understand that he or she is one of the Francophone town, as all is Frenchified from the organizing committee to the hostesses, the protocol, and every logistics are manned by natives from La Republique to Cameroon, and the inaugural speeches are delivered each time by their colonial Francophone ministers in French.
Well,
So,
sadly enough, last year during the Mount Fako race, a woman and her children were severely wounded. A few others lost their lives, and here again they are organizing another Mount Fako race. Undaunted gathered that the test race for the 29th edition of the said Mountain Cameroon Race of Hope has been slated for January 20th, with the annexationist La République du Cameroon's Athletic Federation issuing guidelines for participation in the pre-test, and that the test race traditionally holds 1 month to the initial race and usually serves as a pre-selection trial for the international competition scheduled for February 4th, 2024. Now, the test race is set to take off at 7 a.m. with the route extending from Moyoko Stadium to the intermediary hut of Mount Cameroon and back, and participants are required to adhere to the following modalities.
representation of a photocopy of the national ID or photocopy of birth certificate for minors, photos, medical certificate to be obtained at the Federation Doctor's Office, license fee 3,000 francs CFA, and Federation fees for the test race 1,500 francs CFA. Interested individuals are encouraged to register at the Athletics League Secretariat located at the Court Junction, Boyer. Now, the outlined requirements aim to ensure a streamlined and organized process for the test race, serving as a precursor to the renowned Mount Cameroon Race of Hope.
Well, historically, the Mount Fako race has brought athletes from more than 10 countries, including La Republic of Cameroon, Nigeria, Kenya, Chad, Gabon, Congo, Uganda, Tunisia, Morocco, France, the US, United Kingdom, and other countries. But then one day, La Republic, with the numerous security challenges, if they're able to protect the lives of these people. Now, moving on, right from the inception of the war, President Biya has always found ways to look for donations, not to solve the war problems, but for the habitual lining of his pocket. Well, so far, critics believe that his involvement with a war in Amazonia was a pretext to receive military donations, arms, and funds from the international community.
In 2018, we saw his camera killing innocent babies, pretending to the world that those innocent babies were terrorists. We saw on camera where his military were shooting innocent teachers who just wanted their salaries paid. The question is, were those innocent teachers terrorists as well? Now, if you look critically at the war in Amazonia, you will know that the war in Amazonia was not even called for. That is the reason we call it a senseless war.
Well, in the war torn southern Cameroon's Republic of Amazonia, since La Republique had failed to meet up with all fallacious promises given them before they engaged in the activity to undermine the Amazonian Quest, the Ayabacho Boys, ADF, the Atanga NG Boys, and La Republique Proxy Militia with the DDR Boys, or equally using settlement of scores, kidnapping, ransom, fraudulent tax collections to inflict more pain on an already suffering innocent peace-loving people.
Well, Maya Ray, Benoit, and Maya Luti, all the border with the Central African Chad and Nigeria are the departments most targeted by kidnappings for ransom. Persistent issues of weapon possession and trafficking in these countries, partly driven by socio-political crisis and rebellions, provide kidnappers with the means to carry out their activities.
Now, sources have told the Institute for Security Studies, the ISS, how hostage takers cross these long and porous borders to find targets. They subdue their victims and sow fear among civilians, rendering them more vulnerable. They usually target farmers, cattle breeders, as well as shopkeepers and humanitarian workers, choosing for their perceived ability to respond to the ransom demands due to their apparent financial capacity.
Well, the phenomenon is spreading beyond the northern and eastern regions, far north and east of neighboring areas in Chad, the Central African Republic, and other neighboring countries. It also involves various nationalities, as evidenced by ex-hostages. The insecurity in the two Cameroons can first be seen as a result of poor governance, misplaced priorities, and most of all, corruption.
Well, it's important to note that the situation is complex and multifaceted, and there is no one size fits all answer to the question. The reason behind the rise in kidnappings, killings, and ransom taking in Cameroon is varied and complex and includes social, political, economic, and security factors.
Besides, the corrupt Yaoundé junta is caught in the web of bad governance, like I mentioned earlier, complicity, and the lack of good faith in addressing issues as they arise. And when matters that start like little cobwebs get out of hand, it becomes very difficult to handle, given room to chaos that has been reigning in the corrupt country for decades now.
What's more interesting is how the war has attracted more help from the US and other nations basically to ensure security in the Cameroons, but nothing can be seen done by Paul Biya other than the procurement of more artilleries to kill more southern Cameroons. Well, this is another show of misplaced priority, as there has been the terrorizing force of Boko Haram that they would have put that much energy into to bring a stop to its terrorism on both Cameroons, but it's hardly likely to see La Republic's government face the crucial points of need, and as such, nothing of that sort has been done. Well, Sudan decided not to attend the special summit organized by the IGAD on January 18th. The government believes that a direct meeting between the warring generals should happen first before engaging in broader discussion with the regional bloc.
Well, this was mentioned by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as reported by Sudan Tribune. Agenzia Nova also mentioned that Uganda will be hosting the summit, where they plan to address the ongoing crisis between Ethiopia and Somalia, as well as the war in Sudan. It's unfortunate that the war has been going on for a long time without a negotiated solution, as we see the Sudanese government wanting the warring generals to have a direct meeting before engaging in border discussions with the regional bloc. It will be interesting to see how this situation unfolds.
Well, still on the African scene, Tanzania made an announcement yesterday, January 15th, that they have withdrawn their approval for Kenya's flagship carrier to operate passenger services between the two countries. This decision was made in response to Kenya denying Air Tanzania the necessary approvals for operating cargo flights. It seemed like there was a bit of a back and forth happening between the aviation authorities of both countries. This is the latest trade dispute to plague the East African Community, a regional economic bloc. And it is rather interesting to have the year start with these news, especially looking at the fact that last year, especially the Eastern African nations played a huge role in fostering intra-African relations.
All right, still in East Africa, President William Ruto's quest to find alternative sources of revenue, usually more than 600 billion Kenyan shilling. That's approximately $3.7 billion in the next 4 years, has resulted in a significant increase in documentation and government service expenses. This initiative is aimed at bolstering the government's financial resources and supporting the policies already laid out in the Finance Act of 2023. Well, it's fascinating to see the government's effort to diversify revenue streams and strengthen the economy.
While in Ghana, pre-election spending holds key to long-term debt sustainability. It is very likely to see political ambitions disrupting attempts to achieve debt sustainability. Following the election year, economists have said the IMF and World Bank funding for Ghana risk being used for political purposes rather than to rebuild public finances, with others like Courage Boti, an economist as well at GCB Capital in Accra, calling the election year biggest red flag. In terms of achieving debt sustainability, as many voters will demand more government spending without calculating the longer term consequences.
Well, let's go to Somalia. The Somali government has implemented various strategies to curb the El Shabaab financial strength. They have focused on disrupting their sources of revenue, such as cracking down on illegal taxation, smuggling, and extortion. Additionally, they have worked to enhance international cooperation to track and block financial flows to support the militant group. These efforts aim to weaken El Shabaab's financial capabilities and hinder their ability to sustain their operations. It's a challenging task, but the government seems determined to tackle this issue head on.
Well, in Liberia, during a conversation with church congregants near Monrovia, Liberia's President George Weah, a former international footballer elected in 2017, mentioned that he would be 63 in 6 years, and since his retirement age is 65, he does not plan to be involved in politics beyond that age, confirming that he will not run for a re-election in 2029, just after his recent electoral defeat conceded to Joseph Boakai in November. Well, that's about it for the African scene. Coming up next, global news.
Well, let's start with the Ukrainian military. The Ukrainian military officials said that they had taken out the missiles using active countermeasures by means of electronic warfare. The first time they had foiled that many Russian missiles attacks scrambling their navigation system. It came during a wave of attacks on Ukraine early Saturday morning, with Russia launching 37 missiles and drones at cities across Ukraine. The Institute for the Study of War, a U.S. think tank that tracks the conflict, said the announcement may be an inflection of Ukrainian electronic warfare and its capabilities that are normally credited with disabling Russian drones, but not missile system.
Well, in North Korea, Kim vows to dismantle his father's unification art as he declares South Korea principal enemy. The North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Monday vowed to remove a massive monument to the possible reunification of the Korean peninsula that his father constructed in Pyongyang, calling it an eyesore. Kim's call during a speech at a Supreme People's Assembly (SPA) meeting in Pyongyang was the latest in a string of recent bellicose statements from the North Korean leader, including a New Year's declaration that the North was ending a policy of seeking reconciliation with South Korea. Now, North Korea has also been active militarily in recent weeks, firing hundreds of artillery rounds into waters near a disputed border between North and South, and testing what is said was a ballistic missile topped with a hypersonic glide vehicles.
All right, let's move to Iranian Ghats. Well, the U.S. condemns the Iranian attack in Iraq's Kurdistan. Well, it says in a statement, says we oppose Iran's reckless missile strikes, which undermine Iraq's stability. This is by the U.S. State Department spokesman Matt Miller. Well, Matt Miller continues to say we support the government of Iraq and the Kurdistan regional government effort to meet the aspirations of the Iraqi people.
Well, Ukraine's air defense notches a string of successes against Russian air power. The Ukraine has destroyed at least 7 Russian planes since the beginning of December, a landmark military achievement for the country and a significant blow to Russia. A sharp uptick in downing planes in recent weeks emerges as a bright spot for Ukraine amid a lack of progress on the battlefield. Commander-in-Chief Valery Zaluzny confirmed on January 15th that Ukraine had destroyed a Russian Berev 50 A-50 military observation plane and an Illusion 1122 plane that operates as an airborne command post. The downing came less than a month after Ukraine shot down 4 Russian planes within 1 week. 3 Russian Su-34 supersonic fighter bomber aircraft and 1 Su-34 fighter bomber jet near occupied Mariupol and Donetsk Oblast. The A-50 alone reportedly cost $330 million, and although estimates vary, Western sources say that Russia has fewer than 10 in its fleet.
Meanwhile, the United States on Sunday condemned North Korea's latest ballistic missile launch as a violation of multiple UN Security Council resolution, while reiterating Americans' ironclad security commitment to South Korea and Japan. The North fired an apparent intermediate-range ballistic missile into the East Sea on Sunday, which is in Korea time, and its first missile launch this year, according to South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff. Well, according to him, says the United States condemns the DPRK's January 14th ballistic missile launch. A State Department spokesman said in response to a question from the Yonhap news agency. Well, we'll definitely bring you up to speed with more on Korea as this report unfolds. But right now, let's join Gab Ellison in the sports studio.
Latest world sports. Football. After Total Energy's African Cup of Nations. The first round of the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations continues on Wednesday, with the following games in Group F scheduled to take place. The Atlas Lions of Morocco will exchange lessons with Tanzania, while the Democratic Republic of Congo will battle things out with Zambia. Jose Mourinho, Roma sacked former Manchester United, Chelsea and Real Madrid manager. Jose Mourinho has been sacked as Roma manager with the club ninth in Serie A. The Portuguese, 60, took over in May 2021 and led Roma to the Europa Conference League title a year later and the Europa League final in 2023. But they are 5 points off Serie A's final Champions League qualifying spot, and last week were knocked out of the Coppa Italia by city rivals Lazio. Owners Dan and Ryan Friedkin thanked Mourinho for the passion and commitment he has shown as boss. We will always have great memories of his stewardship, but we believe that, in the best interest of the club, immediate change is necessary, they added in a statement. Mourinho's second card in the last deal and afterwards compared himself to Harry Potter, suggesting his file was raising expectations for what Roma could. That result was followed by a 3-1 league defeat by AC Milan on Sunday, which left Roma 5 points adrift of fourth-placed Fiorentina and led to his dismissal. Victory in the 2022 Conference League secured Roma's first major European title and earned Mourinho huge support among the club's fan base. But after they were beaten on penalties by Sevilla in last season's Europa League final, the Italian club took just 5 points from their first 6 Serie A matches in a poor start to the current campaign. With Roma 16th in the table, the former Manchester United, Chelsea, Real Madrid and Tottenham boss said he had rejected the craziest offer to leave last summer. Mourinho's contract was due to expire at the end of the current season. England manager Sarina Wiegman extends deal until 2027. England manager Sarina Wiegman has said she has unfinished business after signing a new contract until 2027. Wiegman started the role in September 2021 and guided England to a first major trophy when the team won Euro 2022. England also reached the 2023 World Cup final, which they lost to Spain. I am so happy to have the chance to lead England through to 2027 after an incredible 2.5 years, said Wiegman. Looking forward, we have unfinished business and I know we are capable of even more. Although nothing will come easy, our game is becoming so competitive at a top level. I relished that opportunity and can't wait to start the Euro qualifiers, followed by the World Cup. Former Netherlands manager and midfielder Wiegman has also won 2 Arnold Clark Cups and the first women's finalissima against Brazil, which was in April last year during her time in charge. Her assistant, Arjen Voering, has also agreed a new contract extension. I also must mention Arjen Voering. I am delighted he has also extended his stay, added Wiegman. It is a fantastic job working with these amazing players and alongside great colleagues. And of course, it is very special to be able to play a part in giving our fans such wonderful moments. Wiegman won the UEFA Women's Coach of the Year award in August. On Monday, the Dutch woman was named Women's Coach of the Year at the FIFA Best Awards for the 4th time. Her new deal includes Euro 2025, for which qualifying starts in April, and the 2025-2026 Nations League. It will also take in the 2027 World Cup if England qualifies. We are thrilled Sarina has agreed to extend her time with us as we head into another significant period of international football, said Football Association Chief Executive Mark Bullingham. She has achieved so much through her outstanding work as a coach and leader, and there is more to come. The aim with our England team is to be a consistent competitive force in major tournaments, and Sarina has helped us achieve that, building on what had been several years of positive progress. She has also been a tremendous ambassador for the women's game and English football in general. Her commitment to what we are trying to do to grow the grassroots and promote the Lionesses player pathway is there for all to see. Sarina is an inspiration to so many at home and abroad, and it is great that her time with us at Wembley and St. George's Park will continue. Boxing. Joshua eyes undisputed heavyweight title ahead of Ngannou fight. Anthony Joshua says he is hoping a fight against ex-mixed martial arts fighter Francis Ngannou will lead to a shot at becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Former heavyweight world champion Joshua will face Ngannou in just his second professional bout in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on March 8. 3 weeks before that fight, Tyson Fury takes Alexander Usyk in Riyadh for the right to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since 1999. Joshua won all three of his fights in 2023 as he bids to return to the top of the heavyweight division, with his most impressive performance coming in a fifth-round stoppage of Otto Wallen last month. Cameroon-born Ngannou only made his professional boxing debut in October when he knocked down WBC champion Fury before losing a close decision. Every fight leads to somewhere, so this fight is my everything, and we will see where it leads me, said Joshua as the fighters faced off at a press conference in London. I have got to take his mind and his spirit. It will be explosive, we can both trade, and it will be a good fight. Ngannou almost delivered an upset when he dropped Fury to the canvas with a left hook in that fight. I heard that he doesn't have a chin, Ngannou said of Britain's two-time world champion, Joshua. I don't know if it's true or not. We're going to find out. I hope I have the opportunity to test that out. That's my wish. Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, did not hide from his ambitions for the former Olympic champion. If you can imagine the winner of this fight against the winner of Fury versus Usyk, it's been a long dream of Anthony and his team to be undisputed. The former UFC heavyweight champion Ngannou has another shot at one of the biggest names in the sport after nearly ending Fury's unbeaten record. I'm going to come as an underdog to win the fight. I will get this done. I'm just a beginner, said Ngannou. I will come out better, and that's how I see things. I prepared for a hard fight. The Fury fight is in the past, and I will take this more serious than before because there's more on the line. The undisputed. I will do something nobody has done before, and I have the tools to do that. It will not be an easy fight, but a possible one to win. Both Joshua's victory over Wallen and Ngannou's surprise showing against Fury also took place in the Saudi capital. Gab Ellison reporting for Undaunted, ABC Amber News.
All right, thank you so much, Gab Ellison, for that sports report. And with that report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at the major stories.
On Undaunted tonight, we brought to you Ambazonians watching out for Mount Fako event, and also a revisit to the postnatal unit of the Bamenda Regional Hospital, where premature babies were manipulated for the benefit due to the limited incubators.
Well, a day after Monday goes down in Bamenda, we give you what the people suffers every day. And on the African scene, we told you that pre-election in Ghana spending holds key to long-term dirt sustainability. And on the foreign scene, North Korea's Kim vows to dismantle father's unification arc as he declares South Korea's principal enemy. And sports, Gab Ellison told us that CAF Total Energies African Cup of Nations, all that is currently happening. And that was it for tonight on Undaunted, bringing to the news and top stories. On behalf of Star Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
Leave with ABC and the TV images. Good night and God bless you.